Ethics is the field of study relating to right and wrong. Another term tossed around when learning about ethics is morals. Although these terms are often used interchangeably, when a distinction is made, it is often this. Ethics, the rules of right and wrong that are imposed upon a person by society, a profession, or other group, with conformity being the expectation. For example, it is generally accepted that it is wrong to punch babies in the face. Doing so would not be conforming to the standards of right and wrong in society and be deemed unethical, unless you lived in a society where punching babies was accepted as the right thing to do, although such a society would probably not last very long. Morals, your internal sense of right and wrong. For example, you might think punching babies is a good thing. You might believe babies deserve to be punched, or maybe there's one baby in particular that owes you some money. If you felt this way, it's an example of an action being moral, but likely unethical. Why should a paramedic learn about this? As a paramedic, you're going to be faced with difficult decisions you have to make, or actions you have to take. And more often than most other jobs, those choices are going to involve the well-being of another human being. It's important to have a couple tools to guide you in your decision making so that informed decisions are made. You don't find yourself questioning what you did after the fact. Think you already have a strong sense of what you would do when faced with a difficult situation? Consider the following scenarios as an exercise. You are dispatched to a ground-level fall. On scene is a 30-year-old female who tells you immediately her husband has beat her. The husband has left by the time you arrived. She's covered head to toe in bruises, primarily around her head, and also has a minor laceration on top of her head. After your assessment, the patient begins begging you to please not tell the police what happened. She's afraid the police will take her husband away, as he is her only source of income, and she's got 3 kids to raise with no family to help take care of the children. She's also afraid that if she gets her husband in trouble, he'll only just beat her worse the next time he gets a chance. What would you do? You are dispatched to a disability care facility by one of the nurses on staff for a cardiac arrest. On scene, you see a 35-year-old male laying in bed, skin blue, a bottle of unmarked pills empty at the side of the bed. On his chest is a note that reads, "I've been in excruciating physical pain all my life. I feel I have no purpose and that life has no meaning. All I do is lay here in pain, a burden to society. Please just let me go. It's all I want. It's my choice and it's the last freedom I feel I have left. I just want to be able to rest." What would you do? You are dispatched to a cardiac arrest. As soon as you arrive on scene, you can already tell the person has been dead for a while. There is no hope for resuscitation. The man's family is on scene and are very visibly upset. What do you do in this futile situation? You arrive to the scene of a car accident. You go to grab some gloves, but there are none in this unit. Your usual one just broke down, and you were given the spare and were dispatched out before you had a chance to finish stocking the unit. All of the gloves you normally keep in your uniform got used on your last call. You have 2 patients, both critical and covered in blood. Fire, police, and a backup unit are all 30 minutes away. There are multiple bystanders watching the scene. What do you do? You are dispatched to a nursing home for a person with shortness of breath. Upon arriving, the nurse brings you a do not resuscitate order saying, "Sorry, I forgot he had one of these things." You can see the man is in obvious discomfort and having a very hard time breathing, but is unable to acknowledge you and is unable to answer questions or even nod or shake his head. You are watching a man die in front of you, with all the help you can offer him ready to go in your bags, but a piece of paper prevents you from rendering any aid whatsoever. What do you do? Now you can get all philosophical about what the right or wrong thing to do is in each of these situations, and it's going to vary from culture to culture. But the problem is that there are many other difficult situations to add to this list, and to evaluate each case on a comprehensive level would just take up time you often don't have. You could argue that all energy is just matter condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing ourselves subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. Well, your supervisor might not agree. Faced with these constraints, it's important to have some simple tools at your disposal to determine what action to take. The following are my 3 favorite. Number 1. If you were the patient, what would you want done? Although it's important to understand the limitations of this rule, as sometimes people want vastly different things than you do. Number 2. Would you be able to justify your actions to your peers at a later time? And finally, who do you want to see in the mirror the following morning? This last one is my favorite, and the one I rely on most when it comes to difficult decision making. It has saved me a lot of regret over the decisions I've made. I hope it proves an equally valuable tool to you, including outside work as well. For those considering EMS as a career, or are currently students, what decisions would you have made in the previous scenarios, and why? For those currently working, what difficult decisions have you been faced with? What tools do you use for ethical decision making? Are there any policies or procedures your employer has in place that make difficult decisions harder than they should be? Thanks very much for watching.